karma tamo ajnanamihochyate गुणव्यतिकरः कालः स्वभावः सूत्रमेव च सत्वं ज्ञानं रजः कर्म तमो अज्ञानमिहोच्यते गुणव्यतिकरः कालः स्वभावः सूत्रमेव च Sattvam, the mode of goodness. Jnanam, knowledge. Rajaha, the mode of passion. Karma, fruitive work. Tamaha, the mode of ignorance. Ajnanam, foolishness. Iha, in this world. Uchyate is called guna of the modes. Vyatikaraha, the agitated transformation. Kalaha, time. Swabhavaha, innate tendency. Nature. Sutram, Mahatattva. Eva, indeed. Cha, also. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. In this world, the mode of goodness is recognized as knowledge, the mode of passion as fruitive work, and the mode of darkness as ignorance. Time is perceived as the agitated interaction of the material modes, and the totality of functional propensity is embodied by the primeval sutra or Mahatattva. Purport: the impetus for the interaction of the material elements is the forward movement of time. Because time is passing, the embryo grows within the womb, gradually comes out, grows up, produces byproducts, dwindles and dies. All of this is due to the pushing of time. In the absence of the time factor, the material elements do not interact, but remain inert in the form of pradhana. Lord Krishna is establishing the basic categories of the material world so that human beings can conceive of the Lord's creation. Where the category is not condensed, analysis and conceptualization would be impossible, since the Lord's potencies are infinite. Although there are numerous divisions of material elements, within the basic divisions, the spirit soul is always to be understood as a distinct spiritual element meant for residence in the kingdom of God. Om Tat Sat. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmayi Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande. Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine. Namo Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaurakata Dhamadaya Nagaragrama Dharine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So yesterday we read, this is a whole technical description of the elements of material creation. Yesterday we discussed how nature exists originally as the equilibrium of the three material worlds, that is Prakriti, and how the material modes pertain to the spirit soul, not to the spirits, only to nature and not to the spirit soul. Then goodness, passion and ignorance are the effective causes of creation, maintenance and destruction of this universe. Now, beyond the material modes, yesterday we discussed is Krishna. Behind everything is Krishna. Janmadyasya yataha. Now, how the material modes come into action, if you read 3.4, Kapila Dev describing how the material world comes into being, how creation occurs from the very subtle to the gross. Very, very subtle. From there onwards to the gross matter that we are able to experience and relate with. They have subtle causes before. So here it is mentioned, time agitates pradhana, and then as soon as time agitates pradhana, then material modes start acting. When material modes start acting, sattvam, rajas, tamam, then immediately creation takes place. There are 24 elements. These 24 elements are discussed. If you read 3.4, Kapila Deva's descriptions, that you can see in Maitreya and Vidura's conversation also, you can see in many places Krishna is also describing. In Bhagavad Gita also it is mentioned. There are 2-3 shlokas describing what are the elements. You remember? Anybody? Which shloka is? Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu. That is one. There's another shloka that describes other Mahabhutani Ahankaro Buddhirabhyaktamevacha Indriyani Dasaikamcha Panchachendriya Gocharaha. Like that, all the 24 elements are described there also. This is science. This is physics, science, very deep. Krishna is describing all the material elements and how creation is occurring, how matter comes into place, how Prakriti acts, Pradhana, and all these aspects. The time factor is Saikshata. Krishna, that is Vishnu, glances at Prakriti, and that glance impregnates Prakriti with spirit souls and will start functioning. It's an amazing description of creation. What happens? Here it is mentioned that time agitates the modes and the modes start functioning. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes how the modes, one becomes above the other and the other becomes above. Like that, there's a competition amongst the modes. So this powerful force of Krishna's material energy and how it functions is very, very interesting, especially to people who are science oriented. They become very interested in understanding this. And Prabhupada says In the 3.4, there is great scope for scientific research work in these lines. And some of our devotees, like our Rasaraj Prabhu in Bhakti Vedanta Institute, who is doing some very sterling work, taking into consideration this Prabhupada's Bhagavatam and proving to the rest of the world, if you want to understand matter, you have to understand it through the Bhagavatam. Because many of the things mentioned here, the material scientists don't know and they are struggling to understand. But it is mentioned so nicely here. If you can understand a little bit of Bhagavad science, it will be amazingly useful. So these things that are mentioned here are factual and true. But we are studying a parallel type of science, which is, cannot say it's unscientific, but a very low level of understanding we can have from that. But from these descriptions, Krishna himself, the creator, is describing how it happens. So it's very rare to hear. You can hear it from the scientist's mouth. That is down the line, somebody trying to find out how it works. But when Krishna is speaking about creation, you can understand it will be 100% paka. So here Krishna is explaining how time agitates the material modes. And it's mentioned that how under each modes of material nature, there are different type of personalities. This is personality description. It says if a person is in godness, he will be interested in knowledge. If he is in passion, he will be interested in performing work that will give him fruit. And if he is ridden by tamoguna, then he will be in total darkness, not knowing what is right, what is wrong, like that. You can find these type of broad classification of personalities in this world. Right? And a lot of the world is in passionate and tamogun. And as Kali Yuga progresses, more tamogun, more passion, very less satogun. So knowledge is actually not present. Only in the Hare Krishna movement you can get genuine knowledge. Knowledge in satoguna. Now you have knowledge which will also drive you to tamoguna. Andham tama pravishyanti ye avidyam upasate. Like Ishopanishad says. Everything is knowledge. Right? Knowledge on how to actually save a life in medical science is one type of knowledge. Knowledge with the terrorists on how to make a bomb and throw it so that about 1,000 people die is also knowledge. It's also knowledge. One is really destructive. The other one is constructive. In the material world they'll say that. Yeah. So there is knowledge, sensuous knowledge. There is knowledge that is transcendental. Then there is devotional knowledge. Topmost, which Lord Chaitanya is giving. Transcendental knowledge, even the Mayavadis have, that I am spirit soul, Aham Brahmasmi. Then there is sensuous knowledge, knowledge on the platform of the senses, contacting the objects of the senses and studying it and writing down things and discovering things. Modern material science is based on that knowledge. So you have Satogun people even in studying material knowledge. I am a scientist. I am this thing, very sattvic in one sense. But the knowledge cultivated is about jada. So your knowledge in one sense is not very sattvic. You are a sattvic person required to work in order to understand this knowledge, but the substance of your knowledge is about jada, is about inanimate matter, which is not wrong. But if you study inanimate matter in connection with the supremely animate person, Krishna, then it becomes transcendental knowledge. That is why in the Bhagavatam, how this description is coming? Because in connection with Krishna it is coming. If you study it without Krishna, then it is Jada Vidya. That is mentioned in the Ishopanishad. And a lot of our so-called Sattvic people, born in Brahmin families, are engaged in studying Jada Vidya. And they get Nobel Prize. Very easily you will get. You can get anything you want. Because their knowledge, their capacity is meant for studying transcendental knowledge. But all these people are relatively in Sattva Guna because they're interested in their knowledge. Right? Interested in the knowledge. Then there's a category of persons who are passionate about doing things mentally, intellectually, physically, and getting the fruit of it. The whole material world's economy functions on that. On the passion of the people to produce, to do things. Some are physically passionate. Some are mentally passionate. Some are intellectually passionate. Producing, theories, philosophies, grappling with that on an intellectual level. You see, on that level also. Creativity is coming from passion. In the material world, creativity is recognized and you are given all sorts of prizes, right up to Nobel Prize. So if you have intellectual passion, you can create things. If you have mental passion, you can think about so many things passionately. Right? So like that, physical passion, people who work with their hand, legs, and sports, you can see swimming, athletics, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maiki. And that is that type of, passion. See. Once Bill Clinton was President of America. He was a farmer before. He's known to be a peanut farmer. He was growing groundnuts. Somehow he rose up and he got elected as a president of America. So they were interviewing him. They asked, what do you do in your spare time? So in the interview, he said, in my spare time, I have a full carpentry shop in the basement of my house. I go and produce furniture. This is the president of India speaking. I'm the president of America. He's saying every Sunday, he's waiting to get back to his carpentry shop. He puts on his jeans, puts this thing, and then he works on this thing, cuts the saw, makes the thing, makes a shelf, make a table. He likes to do that very much. He's a Shudra, number one. But he has become President of the United States. He's longing to go to the carpentry shop. Physically passionate. You can make out from the people and their ways. He likes to do that. Physically passionate person. So similarly, there are passionate people on various planes. They produce, create the buildings and monuments and, playing sports and, doing all these things are all passionate activity with a fruit, desire for some fruit. So the material world, everybody, Rajoguna, Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi Trishna Sangha Samudbhavam. Trishna means unlimited material desire. And the desire to acquire out of my own effort a result. That is what is encouraged. Achieving something in life. Making a mark and going from this world. Before I go, I want to make a mark. At least my statue should be there, my bust should be here. I should have done this, I should have done that, like that. People want to do many things. Of course, it's not the situation with everybody. So this is passionate. Similarly, tamogun. Tamogun means destroying oneself. Doing very, very destructive things on yourself. This is tamoguna. Because you do not know what is the value of yourself. You don't have value for yourself. You don't know how to utilize yourself. So you abuse yourself. Self-abuse. Drinking, smoking. You don't have value for yourself, such persons will abuse others also. So you cannot live with such people. They have no value for themselves. You can see a lot of them. They are in rehabilitation, they are going through Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a group of people who are all so addicted to alcohol. They get together and talk to themselves. They become completely disgusted with their own life and their capacity to manage themselves. So they have formed a group because nobody is there to listen to us and our addiction and our incapacity. Like that, tamogun, sleeping too much. People like to sleep. What ordinary sleep they get, they want to sleep more intensely, so they drug themselves to sleep. They like to sleep. I remember in my younger days, I found it very strange. I was studying and there was a servant maid at home, and mother was talking to her one day, a young lady, and she would ask her, what do you like to do most? Then the servant lady should say, I like to put the blanket on me and sleep nicely. This is the most important thing I like to do. I like to sleep. And then my mother would laugh. She likes to sleep. There are many people who just like to crawl up, especially when it's cold season. They put their blanket and they just want to sleep and sleep and sleep. But on the other side, there are some people who don't like to sleep. They try to avoid sleep. They want to be engaged because of passion. They want to be engaged. They don't like to sleep. You can see these type of people. They like to sleep. They don't think it's a waste of time or something. Or what enjoyment. Sleep like a polar bear. For 6 years, 6 months of a year, the polar bear sleeps. Then it gets up and does little bit then waiting to sleep. So it's a tendency to be in tamoguna. Sleep. Then drugging yourself. You see, little bit of half sleep, half this thing. They think that's a very nice thing and they want to move around. A little groggy, drunk, and they want to interact with people. Then most people think, oh, this fellow is drunk, I don't want anything to do with it. It doesn't talk sense. But they want people to talk to them and they want to. In the drugged state, they are looking for an audience. You see. So this is all attraction to tamoguna. They like that dead, dark feeling. Sleeping, drugging yourself, very lazy. Prabhupada told us a story about two very lazy people. The king said, I want to help those people who are very lazy. I want to give grant, look after them, food, clothing, shelter, everything. Who are the most laziest people, you bring them. So the minister organized how to find out the most lazy. Everybody will say, I'm lazy because I want grant. But who are genuinely lazy, only I want to give. So this minister, very smart, he called everybody for a big program. He fed them nicely. And then he set fire to the whole place that they are sleeping in, big tent. Everybody got up and ran. Oh, fire, fire, they went back home. But two people were sleeping there. In spite of the fire, they turned around and slept like that. Somehow managing. It's burning fire. In the burning fire, one person opened his eyes a little bit and said, his friend is telling, hello, I think fire is coming. It's already coming very close. So this fellow told, turn around the other side and sleep. So lazy. So then when the minister heard that, said, these are the most laziest people I've seen. They need help. Tamogun. This is tamogun. You are dying also, you will try to adjust and sleep. This is a complete ignorance of what's happening to you. So that's why when we are in ignorance, we don't know who we are. We don't know who Krishna is. We don't know what we are doing from morning to evening. Why we are doing. We never ask these questions. This is a sign of ignorance. And most people in this world are under the mode of ignorance. They are not allowed to understand and think of who am I, what am I doing, why should I do. All these questions they don't ask. This is ignorance. That's why Om Ajnana Timirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. You should approach a guru and become free from that ignorance. So these are all the ways the modes actually rule people's actions and behavior. And we can understand personality, a person's personality means which mode is affecting him most accordingly. A passionate person will be like this. You can generally very easily understand. You don't need a great, capacity. You can very simply categorize people according to that. See? By the way people do things, we can categorize them according to these modes. And whichever mode predominantly occupies that person, that type of desires, that type of activity, he'll be involved. So these are all facts Krishna is explaining to us here. And the material nature is created like that. That is how we are conditioned. Sattvam, sattvam rajas tama iti guna prakriti sambhavaha nibadnanti mahabaho dehe dehinamukhyam. That the spirit soul, nibadnanti, becomes conditioned by these three modes. Our conditioning is through these three modes. These three modes of material nature, they actually are the reason for the type of things that we do. But a devotee, he knows this knowledge. He knows the modes work like this and they're very strong. So he can become transcendental to the modes. He can get out of the modes. And he remains free from their influence to quite some extent. See, that is why he has his own discipline and regimen. That is, everybody on a Sunday morning would like to get out of bed only at 12 o'clock. Most of the people do that. Whole week they work like a donkey. They think it is a great privilege to be able to get up at 12 o'clock. I am independent of the company, the timing, everything. I can exercise my independence in this one area. The day of the Sabbath is called Sunday. Nobody does anything on that day, according to Christian theology. And we are also following that in India. The day of the Sabbath, nobody does anything. Please get out. No work, nothing. Not supposed to work. So Sunday has become an established day when you don't do anything. And everybody gets into the mood. Even devotees feel today is Sunday, I don't have to do it. Devotional service I don't have to do. Let us relax. No, but normally for Hare Krishna devotees, Sunday becomes the most, important day, most active day. We take off on Monday. After Sunday is over, on Monday, people are a little happy not to have any public around. They chant their japa nicely and be to themselves, read some, Krishna book and talk to devotees a little bit and become free. Anyway, the point is that sleeping, very important for most people. But for devotees, they know the morning time is not the time to be sleeping. Morning time is the time to be greeting the Lord. So all over the world, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada has made this unique feature that people think we are crazy getting up at 3:30 in the morning and going and ringing their gongs and bells and dancing in front of some vague figures. That's what people think in their mind. They wear some orange bed sheets and put some paint on their nose, and they wake up at an unearthly hour at 3:30 in the morning and wave incense sticks and lamps and sing some vague, things in the morning, and they rock and swing in the morning. They are a voodoo group. They get up in the morning and do strange things. All over the world, Prabhupada started this very strange movement. And the amazing thing is, although they are doing the strange things, people are joining them. Because in this world, if you do strange things, only people come to join you. Because people are sick of the regular things that we are doing. The regular thing like getting up in the morning, looking after your children and looking after that is very boring. Routine is boring. So Prabhupada definitely thought that we should do something different. If we just be normal, it is different for these people. So and this was added advantage that people started joining the Hare Krishna movement because people are getting up early in the morning. That was also attractive. So we are Yanisha Sarvabhutanam Yashyam Jagrati Samyami. It's mentioned that what is day for them is night for us. What is night for us is day for them, like that. So although people think it is very strange, actually it is very sattvic. To remain in the sattvic mode, you should get up early in the morning, worship the Lord, chant His holy names. And in this way, the whole morning is utilized. This is Sattvaguna activity. See, this is Sattvaguna activity. And you should sleep when you are supposed to sleep early. So a Tamagun person, he can sleep anytime, anywhere. He can just call upon sleep like that it comes. He's so much in Tamaguna that Tamaguna is such close friends with him that he can say Wah, and he can go to sleep. He can sleep anywhere on the park, on the this thing. One devotee was telling me, in Calcutta, you want to see how people sleep in the night? You will never see this the whole world. And he told me, nowhere in the world you see Guinness Book of World Records. I'll show you. On a small platform like this, it is only 4 or 5 inches thick wooden platform. They keep for luggage and all. Those people who are taking luggage, they rest a little bit and then they take it up on their head again. So it's at this level, something like this level when you stand. It is like that on the road on some places now. This one fellow is sleeping on that in the night. He's balancing. He can sleep anywhere. He is sleeping on that. The whole night he sleeps like this. So he will sleep the whole night like this. After some time he'll sleep like this, he said. He will come with and sleep like this. He will hold the thing. I said, amazing fellow, sir. He said, this is Calcutta. He can sleep and sleeping inside the drum, he will be sleeping. Coiled up, he'll sleep in the drum. He said, you can sleep anywhere. They can call upon Tamagun anywhere they can sleep. He's sleeping balancing on that. If you turn a little bit this side, he'll fall down. But he's sleeping on that. All night he slept on that. 6 hours he slept. And the morning is very fresh. Some people can sleep anywhere, including the Bhagavatam class. In ISKCON, you have all sorts of sleeping. Some people are opening their eyes and sleeping. I've never seen people there. Actually, they are sleeping. They are sleeping. There's one devotee who told me, I want to name his name, very funny devotee. He told me, Tamal Krishna Maharaj told me, I have seen people sleeping on the cot. I have seen people sitting and sleeping. I have seen people, Bhagavatam class, they sleep. I have seen people even standing and sleeping. But I have not seen a person dancing and sleeping. Only you can do it. Dancing in the kirtan and sleeping. So you see, I can do that. That devotee, I have been told that I can do that. I did it. As dancing and sleeping in the kirtan. So you can sleep if you want anywhere by inviting Tamaguna upon you. It is the closest guna to us. The farthest guna is Sattvaguna. The closest, you don't have to work very hard to be in Tamaguna. But you have to work hard to be in Sattvaguna. To wake up in the morning is hard work. To be in Sattvaguna at a time, shifting from deep Tamagun to all of a sudden to be in Sattvagun is a lot of hard work. You have to do that. And a devotee, he strives to be in Sattvaguna. He tries to live life in the early morning. He tries to keep himself always remembering Krishna in the pursuit of Krishna consciousness, serving Krishna, and keeping away from Tamoguna as much as possible. Sometimes we need a little bit of Rajoguna, especially when you are doing preaching in this world, requires a little passion. You want to get up and organize a program, move around, talk to people, and When you organize Ratha Yatra, you cannot say, no, I have to be in Sattva Guna. I will read about Lord Chaitanya dancing in the Ratha Yatra. Automatically the Ratha Yatra will get organized by itself. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. There have to be people doing all sorts of things. Sometimes to do a festival. And you may have to fight with the police, argue with the police, argue with somebody else, negotiate a contract with somebody else. All these things we have to do. So devotee, you can't say the devotional service he is doing is in Rajoguna. That is not correct. It is just that for the sake of devotional service, he is manifesting some amount of that quality. But he is not disconnected with the purpose of doing it for Krishna. So when we see somebody dealing, so you have to deal with somebody who's a laborer, is supposed to do some construction work in the temple construction, and somebody is yelling at him, you can't go to him, Prabhu, be in Sattva-guna. Don't be in this type of Rajoguna. He will give you one. If you say that, his service is like that. You can't go to Arjuna and say, Arjuna, although Krishna spoke to you these things, please don't take the sword and kill people full of blood and all that thing. This is complete Rajogun and Tamogun. Do not do it. Same question as in Bhagavad Gita you can ask. Why Arjuna is engaged in so much of Rajogun? In killing. That is his service as a Kshatriya for the Lord. Similarly, a person like who is in Sattva Guna, he will help you to mastermind the whole battle, how to attack, what to do. The ministers will advise from where to attack, how to do, what scheming thing to do, whom to negotiate with. All these in Kshatriya spirit, the ministers will advise. They will also get into the same. They won't go and take a sword and fight. If it is necessary, they'll do that also. But that's not their role. They will use their brain and intelligence to advise the king how to conquer. They may do that. But they don't do the other things. So like that, everybody can be engaged in conquering Maya, helping some person to conquer Maya and engage in the service of the Lord. For that you may need to establish sometimes actions which look like in Tamoguna and Rajoguna. It should not be mistaken. It is pure devotional service. It is pure devotional service. So, but there are also people who can render service in Tamoguna. That is lower class. You see. Rajogun, you get desire for name, fame, position within the organization of Bhakti Vinoda Swami Prabhupada. Then you fight, climb on the ladder and go up. That becomes Rajoguna. For you, you may be achieving something for yourself within the framework of Krishna consciousness. Then your devotional service also will become like that. Because all the time you are thinking, why I did not get that, why did I get that, this type of things. Then envy and all these things will manifest in you. Then your devotional service will become filled with all these Rajagun qualities. And you'll get affected by not getting fruit of the things that you're doing. So in this way, even your devotional service, if necessary, can become like that. Kapila Deva describes devotional service in Rajogun, Tamogun and Satogun. But a devotee need not be necessarily like Arjuna is not in Rajogun. Arjuna's service cannot be, say, Rajogun devotional service. No. He is doing completely in that for Krishna. He says, I have understood. I should do it for you. And I am doing. For that sake, I am manifesting my Kshatriya qualities of passion for the sake of Lord. That Krishna is explaining to him. So his is not Rajogun devotional service. His is pure devotional service, which requires some amount of Rajogun for execution. It's a very subtle difference. You can easily classify both together. Easy classify both together. So, a devotee of the Lord is transcendental to the modes. And he is executing out of devotion to the Lord. So you will find 4 different types of people. Those who predominantly in Rajagun, those predominantly in Tanogun, those predominantly in Satogun, and those transcendental to the gunas. When you look at the people transcendental to the gunas in the material world, serving along with the other, they all look same. Like this one very rich devotee, rich person here. I used to go to him regularly for donations in the Crosscut Road. And nice man, young man, who talked to me and he helped me to raise funds here and there. Go to him and tell him like this, like that, like that. You help me. Those days. Then one day he was asking me, see, what is the difference between you and me? You are also making money. I am also making money. Then only I understood, my gosh, this fellow looks at me in a completely different way. He's a businessman. So he's looking at me and thinking, see, Swamiji is roaming around for money. And he is asking me how to get money like this, whom to make member. Then I am also making money. So in his own understanding, he goes, what is the difference between you and me? I said, yes, there is no difference. No difference. Externally, no difference. Then he said, you are making money, I am making money. I said, yeah, I am also making money. You are also making money. Correct. Anything else similarity can you say? I asked him. Then he said, you are coming in the car, vehicle. I am also going in the car, vehicle. I said, fine. Any other similarity you have? Yeah. Then, like you are also going for, you went to Vrindavan and came, no? I also went to Vrindavan. You're trying to find similarities. Then I say, any other similarity you have? Then he got stuck. Then said, shall I tell you about all the differences? I know what you're going to say. You will say that you're chanting Hare Krishna, I am not chanting. Because you're asking me to chant for so many days, I did not chant. So you see his level of comparison. I said, no, I'm not going to tell you that. That is not the difference, I said. That is a very small difference. I told him, I do all these things. But for what I am doing this? I asked him, for what am I doing this? You are doing this so that you can get your food, you can live in your house, this thing, he told me. Then I said, no, that is where is the difference. I don't need this money that you're giving me. No, I don't need it. I got my own house. If I want, I can go and stay in my family. I got a big house. I got everything together. That's what I'm wondering. I want to ask you, why are you not doing that? He asked. No, so that I can explain this to you. This I am doing as a service to Krishna. And I am engaging you in that service to Krishna. I am asking you to give your money. Because all the time you are thinking of money and sitting here. All the time I am thinking of how to serve Krishna using your money. Then he brightened up. I said, my intention is different, your intention is different. I explained to him. But externally we look the same. I use this, I do that, I do this. Then he is shaking his head and saying, okay, we'll meet later. So externally when you look, people think what they are doing, they are also having this thing problem, that problem, they are calling upon me to do that, do this, then. So if you superficially look, you won't see that a devotee is transcendental to the modes. Why Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, established Krishna consciousness. He made life membership, he built temple, he got donation, this thing and all that. But people can, if you want, judge the whole thing materially. Right? So what is the intention? And because of that intention, those modes don't act on that person like that. Because tada rajastamo bhava kama lobha dayaschaye chete ter anavritam sthitam sattve prasiddhati. That person, out of a great desire to serve Krishna, he is utilizing the material world's facilities and performing. See? Mahat sevam dwaram ahur vimukte tamo dwaram yoshit sangi sangam. Bhagavatam says very beautifully that by serving the great persons, Mahat sevam dwaram, the door for liberation opens up. But if you associate and serve those people who are so interested in sense gratification, you get more and more bondaged for the same type of activity in the modes, in the material world. Externally, both are doing the same activity. One is going to go back to Godhead, one is going to get sunk deeper inside. Both are side by side. So, for the outside world, for people who don't know how the modes function, how devotional service functions, they think everything is the same. You're working, I am also working. This is a big mistake. Big mistake. Many times, even we can make that mistake of thinking, what is devotional service? Devotional service means simply doing work. Yes, it is work. If you don't remain in the proper consciousness of thinking that I am doing it for Krishna, it will become work. And you look at it like work. When you look at it work, the next thing is you'll feel the burden of work. Then when you think like that, then you'll say, I don't want to take responsibility for this. Because it is work. But I will take responsibility in my factory for that work. Why? That gives me money. In this way, you will judge. What am I getting by doing that? I'm not getting anything. I might as well do this because I get something there. The moment you start thinking of devotional service in a material way, you will stay away from devotional service. By your own construct. In your own way, you will stay out of devotional service. So this is very subtle. Our attitude towards devotional service. Because the modes act through the mind. Krishna has explained to Uddhava, that is where the action starts. Producing thoughts like that. And that thoughts become action. Then it becomes a habit. Then it becomes an attitude permanently with you. So, right in a deep, subtle level, the modes act. It's not that they act only on the body. They will act on the very subtle level and produce those type of thoughts which will very nicely control you. See, material nature is very sophisticated in its control systems. Every living entity is nicely controlled and is made to think that he is free, but he is nicely controlled. He can't escape beyond a certain level. He can't escape out of his mind. The mind is controlled by the modes. All the programming and thoughts are happening from the mind. So automatically you are controlled. You say you are programmed. Chip is already put inside. Now you walk anywhere you want because you cannot go anywhere. Your mind will tell you thoughts, don't go from here, be here. You do engage in sense gratification, do this, do this. Automatically you will be here. Free. You are free to go anywhere you want. You cannot go because your thoughts don't allow you to go beyond a certain extent. You are automatically conditioned to live inside this material world and desire those type of things. I think very soon people are experimenting on these things already. They are using chips inside to program thoughts. They have started that already. Yeah, I heard about it. You see some books are written on that. There were stories, books and all written. And you see now people have started, the military and all of them have started doing these things. They catch hold of one fellow and then put these things inside, send him back to his country. And then they read those things from here. All that experiments are going on. So in other words, people know that you control the thoughts of another person, you can control him. You can control him. Nowadays the movies and discussions and all that are getting into these subtle levels. Jai Jagannath Baladev Shubhatramai Ki. So this is possible. So we should know that that is how we are affected. That is why we are asked to take Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukte. Serve those persons who are great persons. So we are trying to serve Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada and his instructions. If within his instructions, if you carry out those activities that he has asked us to carry out, then you will become free from the modes. By repeatedly doing those activities that Prabhupada has asked us to do, chanting Hare Krishna, reading his books, distributing his books, worshipping the deity, you will slowly become free from the modes. You become situated first in Sattva-guna. In Sattva-guna, you can see how you are entrapped by the modes, and then you will perform devotional activity to the Lord. By doing that, you actually get out of the modes. In the end, you get liberation. Liberation from the modes. Become free. And in that situation, you can render service to the Lord. Freely, openly. Now under the modes we are conditioned, but we are trying to do service. It's difficult to do. Mad bhaktim labhate param, Krishna explains. When a brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. When you are liberated and you know I am spirit soul completely free from material engagement, then you can very freely with complete absorption, with no hindrance of any sort, serve Krishna. That is desired. So now we are practicing with a certain weight of the material modes because of our own attachment. We are trying to serve the Lord. So it's a little strain. It's difficult to do devotional service because the modes are affecting us. But if you plan and regiment yourself according to this, then we can at least become situated in Sattva-guna. In Sattva-guna, you are open to knowledge, and because of that knowledge, you can see things as they are, and you will commit less mistakes, less activity that will entangle yourself, and more chances of doing pure devotional service. See? In this way, the modes play a very, very important part. And everybody should understand this mechanics of the functioning of the modes, so that one can be safely away and work in the Sattva-guna platform at least. And in this way, a person can become completely free. So it's mentioned that from Tamoguna, we should get into Rajoguna. From Rajoguna, we should try to become elevated to Sattva-guna, like that. So sometimes when people are in great Tamoguna, to make them Krishna consciousness, we give them Rajogun prescription. Devotees will sometimes mistake it. Oh, like one devotee was asking me, one person was asking in front of a devotee, he is telling me I should not see any TV, any movie, anything. And I find it very, very difficult to sit and chant, and I can never do that. I said, what do you do otherwise? I sleep. I do this, I do that, I am not very this thing. So for that fellow, if you give him chance to see some TV, at least he will not sleep. At least he will remain awake. So I told him, you watch, sometime you can watch a movie, watch. Is it? He's become very happy. I said, yeah, you must condition to 1 hour only you can watch. Yes. See? He's telling the other person, see? He told he can watch. And you're telling him to watch movie. He has to be given a little breathing space. Little space in Rajogun, give him. He wants to. Otherwise, he's feeling he may leave Krishna consciousness, go to some other ashram where he can watch TV all the time. There are some crazy people. They don't care about what you do from morning to evening. You just have to wear Swamiji dress, get up early in the morning, do meditation. The rest of the day you can drink coffee, you can read newspaper, you can watch TV, you can go anywhere you want. It does not matter. Some ashrams are there. In Belur Mat Ramsha, you can eat meat also. They have full poultry farm, everything looked after by sannyasis, and you can eat meat also. Ashram, very nice ashram. This is what I mean by ashram. Vishram. That's what people are looking for. When our ashram, Apdiya, Kalambra, 3:30 mani. I am not joining your ashram. So there are people like that, you can go. So in order for them to avoid that, you give him permission at least to watch TV for 1 hour. Look at what is in store for him in another place. He will think, he will compare that ashram, this ashram, in his level of knowledge. So sometimes we tell them, you are in so much tamogun, You at least take little Rajogun. Little Rajogun you expose yourself to. Then when you are exposed to Rajogun, you are at least awake. At that time in the TV, I can show you, watch this program. In this program, they're teaching, very good, I will watch. I may sleep, but I hear something. So little bit chance is there. Better chance in Rajogun than in Tamogun for Krishna consciousness for him. So after that, after some Rajogun here and there, he becomes awake a little bit, and then he can get into Satogun. Then can you attend Mangalarati? Once in a month I can come. You will start. Then it will become 2 times a month. Then it becomes, so many times. It becomes every day. You got the taste for Satogun. I like that. That morning time, I like that. He likes the Satogun portion. He's not even seeing the deities. But he likes that feeling. I got up in the morning. It's a victory for me. I got up in the morning. You don't know. He'll go and talk to other people. How nice it is to get up in the morning. Actually, he's enjoying the Satogun, not even the Mangalarti. You can understand that. Some people come in the temple and sit down. You ask them, what is Nalla atmosphere? They are coming to enjoy the atmosphere. They are not looking at the Lord. They don't pay obeisances also. Nalla kaathu, nalla sound, nalla people, everything. Eat some prasadam. Very nice. They are enjoying the Satoguna. Sometimes. Because all the other time they are in complete Rajogun. We can't talk to them and say, you came to enjoy the atmosphere. Chant Hare Krishna. Ponga Harina Mandapata Suttunga. He'll go off. He'll go and find some tree to sit down under. That person is from Rajogun and tired from Rajogun and Tamogun. Is come here and is sitting down. Naturally, it is more than Satogun. He is enjoying it. Krishna is slowly put him there. Say, enjoy, my dear boy. Sit down here. Eat this prasadam. Krishna is actually doing that. Made him sit there. But some smart devotee will come and say, here, chant Hare Krishna in the Harina Mandapam and kick him out. He may go out. He may chant also. We don't know. Like that, sometimes we require that people be shifted from one mode to the other, give chance, some breathing space, and slowly get them into knowing well how the modes operate. So that is why you will see sometimes our great acharyas have said certain types of things which we think, we're told to do like that, we think. But they know what is happening. They are telling according to that. See, I have seen once somebody coming and complaining to their guru through somebody else. The wife is telling, he slapped me to the husband, complaining. So then he is telling, she did not listen to me, she is doing like this. So both are like this. They are regularly physically fighting. So the guru is telling, don't slap hard, slap little bit. When you are getting angry and lightly use, don't slap very hard. Then she is also sort of cooled down. This will also is very strange feeling. He didn't tell me don't slap. I like you. Not. And he stopped slapping actually. He actually stopped. So expert people know how to engage the person. Because it's a question of modes. What is happening is a play of modes, this person. And you very nicely, Joshiyat Sarvakarmani Vidvam, what is that shloka for? Vidvamsam. Intelligent person engages them very nicely without disturbing their material activity in the service of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling. So sometimes you see Prabhupada told one person, he went and told Prabhupada, great sensual desire I have, I'm very lusty. He told. So Prabhupada told him, you get married and you should have 10 children. Prabhupada told. I remember when I met him first, I thought, my gosh, Prabhupada gave instruction like this to him. He came around, he wants to get married. So Prabhupada has told me this. Then I said, all the best. If you go around telling this, nobody will get married to you. Prabhupada told him, it seems, you get married, you make 10 children and make all of them devotees. See how Prabhupada has given him instruction. Like that, the acharyas, they know how to utilize people who are stuck in the modes and engage them in Krishna consciousness. So when they are following the instruction of the acharya, because it is meant for getting them out of the modes, they are doing perfectly correct. They are doing pure devotional service at that point of time. Because they are listening to what the Acharya said, very strictly and perform. So in this way, a devotee should intelligently try to engage himself, analyze his situation, not imitate anybody else's situation. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmo anushita. What is it? Paradharma anushitas swadhanam nida. Forget the shlokas. Nidhanam sheyah paradharmo bhayavaha. Something like that. I don't know the detail. We should not imitate somebody else is doing. We should see where we are, and accordingly we should practice devotional service from that point. Not try to imitate somebody else. Somebody else in some other position is able to do. But we should do according to our thing, what is prescribed to us, we should perform. And in this way, everybody according to the modes they are in, they can become engaged by the Guru and happily perform and live together without thinking that you are doing something more than me, I am doing something less than you, or something like that. What we can do, we should do according to our situation. In this way, one can become transcendental. Sve sve karmanya abhiratah samsiddhim labate naraha. Krishna is saying, Sve sve karmanya abhiratah. What work you are supposed to do according to your situation in the modes, you do as a service and you become advanced. So that is why Prabhupada at one point of time said that we should have a Varnasrama university. People should be engaged according to these things. Combination of both. Om Tat Sat. Srila Prabhupada ki. Any questions? Varnasrama is for everybody in the material world who is affected by the modes. What is the meaning of devotee? As soon as he becomes initiated, he is a devotee. Before he gets initiated also, he is a devotee. As soon as he takes up Krishna consciousness also, he is a devotee. Right? But does it mean that he becomes free of the modes as soon as he takes it up immediately? No. So he is under Varnasrama. Better. Varnasrama means for those under the material modes, giving an opportunity to render devotional service. Plus at the same time look after their material necessities, satisfying their material desires. This is an arrangement Krishna has offered. So in that gradually a person will become renounced and become totally free. That is a slow process. It will take time. But if a person very strongly, determinedly practices Krishna consciousness, he may very fast become totally out of the influence of the modes, and he may not need to follow the path of Varnasrama. So both are open. Some devotees do this. They are able to jump into it and vigorously practice it and remain more or less free. Some very necessary that they follow the Varnasrama system, go through the process. Grasthashrama, this thing like that, they become tame. Both are equally good. As long as in the destination everybody is going back to Godhead. Yes. Any other question? Very good. Yes. No, first of all, let's answer that question. That is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. It is like a candy to the child only. That is why indirectly it is mentioned. Parokshavada vedoyam balanam anusashanam. Like a child. For that, karma mokshaya karmani vidagde agadam yata. Just like you give medicine to the child by coating it with sweet and giving. In the same way, Krishna through the Vedas is karmakanda coated so that you will become drawn into performing pure devotional service. So that is mentioned in the Bhagavatam itself. What is the meaning of devotee? Devoted to whom? So what do you do when you are devoted? What? Yes, so you don't become a devotee unless you do service. It's not that I'm a devotee. If somebody tells me, I'll do service. Devotee means, the very meaning of the word is, I'm a servant of Krishna means, I should be serving voluntarily. I should accept on my own. We cannot, always have somebody pushing us like herd to do devotional service. That is in the initial stages. Sometimes we tell people. We try to awaken their desire to do service. But devotee, he should be eager to engage himself in devotional service. Any service should be eager to engage himself on his own, spontaneously. That's what is life. You can be a devotee only when you do that. Otherwise, you'll be only titular devotee. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah. Hari Bol, how are you?
Is karma pushing us towards certain thoughts based on those? How can we regulate ourselves from these pushing thoughts?
That's why, yes, according to your karma, the modes will act, and according to those modes, thoughts will also be produced. And if you are not woken up as a spirit soul, then you don't know these things are happening. You just act. Na kartritvam na karmani lokasya sajati prabhu na karmafala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. Swabhava means what you have acquired under the modes of material nature. You will act according to that. But when you get to know, cultivate knowledge, then you know that I should not do certain things, but I am forced to do by this thing. So therefore, if I engage in Krishna consciousness devotional service, you will see that that type of effect will very naturally lessen. That is a way to counteract it. Counteracting the effect of the modes is by following what the Bhagavatam says, what Prabhupada said. It says that Vidyate hridaya granthis chidyate sarvasamshayaha kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishware. You can directly see the Lord if you start this process of reading Bhagavatam, following the Bhagavat Vidhi. It says tada rajastamo bhava kamalobhadayaschaye, that from rajas and tamas and lusty desire and all these things will disappear. Cheteyeter anavritam. Anavritam means uncovered completely, free from all that. Sthitam sattve prasiddhati. You'll become situated in sattoguna. Then from there, vidyate hridaya granthis. This hard knot of material desire in the heart will be cut. Chidyate sarvasamshayaha. You lose all type of doubts. Shiyante chasya karmani drishteva. By your devotional service, you'll be able to see the Lord. This process, very important. Prabhupada quotes these verses in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. This is a process. It works like this. So you read that, you'll understand more in Prabhupada's purport also, in the introduction. So this is a process. We can cut, the whole reactionary cycle through performing pure Bhagavad Vidhi activities. That's the process. Chanting Hare Krishna, reading Bhagavatam, dancing and chanting in front of the deities, doing deity worship, eating prasadam, these are all direct Bhakti Yoga services. They are very powerful. Right? Yes.
Question from general. The reason I am born in a Varna is because of my karma. So does birth have a role to determine performing my karma, I understand that it is only due to my activities that I belong to a world.
Well, your first question is, I am born in a particular way because of my karma. Fine. Then you're saying, I thought that only by activities my gunas will be manifest. What did he say?
I understand that it is only due to my activities that I belong to a world. So, does my birth have a role to determine my world? Question goes like,
No, birth. The Shastra says, when you are born, everybody is Shudra. Means ignorant. Janmana jayate Shudra. Then, if you are born in a Brahmin family, they'll do samskara for you. Samskarat bhavet tuja. Then you become a Brahmana, like that. If you are not so born, then automatically they won't do that. And you may, according to the persons around you, develop those type of activities and perform them. So, but a person can actually change by good association, by practice, by education. That's what is transcendental knowledge. It's not that a Brahmana is understood by his birth alone. A Kshatriya is understood by his birth alone. So a person can change, especially a person can become a devotee from any walk of, any birth he has got, he can become a devotee. Even a dog can become a devotee, Prabhupada said. The process of devotional service is so powerful. It will purify you of all those type of habits, attitudes and karma and put you in the forefront. You see. So therefore, the Shastra, Bhagavad Gita says that, guna karma vibhagasha. A varna, an ashrama person is understood. Chatur varnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasa. That is, your varna is understood by your guna and karma, which are again as per your past activities. But although you are situated in that particular varna and your guna and karma is like that, suiting that, you can still change, because these are all external things. So when you start chanting Hare Krishna, performing devotional service, those papa karmas and all that get vanished. Papa kshayate. You will destroy those things. When you destroy those things, you become free. Then you can reorient yourself by devotional service. Become a devotee of the Lord. So it's possible to change. By your activities, it's possible to change. Even if you're born in a Shudra family, you can become a very high-class devotee by your activities. Possible to make that change. Right? Is that the question? Have I answered the question? Yeah. Yes. Any other question?
in one of the conversations of Prabhupada, that he like to one disciple asking Prabhupada, that in third canto, it mentioned that your disciples are free from both. Sorry, we have told that your disciples are free from both of things. The third canto is talking about universal service which is the both of things. So how to understand that? Prabhupada said that it depends on whom you consider to be your disciple. My instructions are free from both.
That's right. You already given the answer.
Even if they're acting like manifesting passion or as they're following this or that, they're free.
Yes. They are free. You see, thing is to be affected by the modes of material nature. Other thing is to act in certain modes required for service. Arjuna, You cannot really say he is acting in that mode. The person who is doing devotional service, you cannot say he is under the modes. He may act angrily fighting, but you can't say he is under Rajagun in order to do that. He's not. He's not. But we know only these things, these three gunas, so we'll put that in the bracket. Any activity like that, I put it in that bracket immediately. But devotional service can never be under the modes, actually speaking. Especially somebody like Arjuna. That should be understood. So when we say, I explained that you may be under the modes and you are doing devotional service. Right? You got a chance to do, so you may do. You are a person under the modes of material nature, and you also got a chance to do devotional service. So a combination of these two can also be present. This does not mean that the person is rendering devotional service under the modes. That also, he is getting the benefit of doing devotional service. Otherwise, where will he start? After he becomes completely pure, he will start. In order to become completely pure only, he is doing this. So at some point of time, he'll be completely clear for the influence of the modes and he renders pure devotional service alone. But while he is rendering devotional service, although he is implicated, you must not think that his devotional service is tainted by the modes. No. His effort may be, but is accepted by Krishna purely. That you must be very clear about that. So we can never say somebody is, you can never render devotional service under the modes, really speaking. It's a very subtle distinction. But a person can be under the modes and he can render devotional service in spite of that, push himself to do it. Like it's a very subtle distinction. But you can never say at any point of time any service done by anybody. Really speaking, you can take that service is taken by Krishna. It's okay, you gave me, tamogun service, I accept it. It's not like that. Krishna, devotional service is service rendered by anybody from anywhere. Because in that service is the element of love for Krishna. Krishna accepts only that. Bhavagrahi Janardana, he takes that. How you came about it to do it, that is different. You are struggling to do that, Krishna accepts that service. Krishna is not accepting your service as, tamagun, rajogun service. Service can never be like that. But while rendering for the sake of knowing, for classification, we are saying these things. Because in your mind the question will come, how can transcendental devotional service be ever affected by the gunas? That question will come inside your mind. That's why I am saying. The performer may be in a particular state and is performing, but his devotional service is accepted by Krishna purely. This performance may be like that. Isn't it? Because for a start, if he is a person like that, he has to do service. You can't wait for him to become completely free from material modes, then start doing service. Starts along with it. Yes, Prabhupada said that in a quote. We read that during the Bhakti Shastri, this thing. In the quote, he said, whatever defects, it does not matter, it is pure devotion service. Because bhakti can never get affected by any material situation. Bhakti is independent. A person can develop bhakti independent of his material status. The chanting of the holy name will independently produce bhakti. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it says, even initiation not required for developing bhakti, chanting the holy name and developing bhakti. It is so independent of everything else. It's on its own, completely governed by Krishna. That understanding we should have. That is why in spite of all difficulties, whatever it is, if you are doing some service, able to do some service, that is adding to your credit. You may not enjoy that this thing. But by Krishna it is accepted as devotional service. Maybe you did not have so much of grips and purely with great love you could not offer because of your material condition. See, but the fact that you wanted to do and you did is accepted by Krishna. This is my understanding of it. Bhakti can never get tainted by anything. It is a existential right of the Atma at any time to decide to render service to the Lord and say, my Lord, I offer you this. And He will accept it. In whichever situation you are. Devotional service is nothing to do with papa, punya and all these things. You see? That is why the Shastra says, Pulinda, Pulakasha, Yadhi, Rusumba, Yavana, Kashadaya. The worst, the lowest class of people. Shuddhanti Prabhavishnave Namaha. It says. They will all get purified by rendering service or chanting the holy name. It's amazing. That doesn't work according to ordinary laws that we know. Oh, mods, then how can you do? Listen, this is Prabhupada's preaching is that just he asked everybody to perform this service.
So, it's important as a power that also understand do anything or just something to
Yes, that is how I have understood it. One should be ready to do anything. Prabhupada fought in the court, fought with that Mr. N and Mr. Nair in Bombay. Prabhupada went through a lot of difficulties. He went ahead and did service for Krishna. He doesn't shy away from anything. In whatever situation you are put, it is by the desire of the Lord that you should perform there and do that. So we must perform activity according to that. Prabhupada's quote is a letter to return to Guru Maharaj. This note. Wherever you are, whatever, you must understand that it is Krishna's desire that you be in that situation. One must never give up devotional service. One must continue to do. This is what I am meant to do. Use the word. By Krishna's plan, this is what I am meant to do. Then you must continue to do. Very amazing amount of realization that is. Devotional service is under the direct superintendence of Krishna, under Radharani, it's a whole very different type of activity. Because of Prabhupada, it has become available to everybody. It's not work. We may think it is work and do, but we are given an opportunity to do. Just see how many people have the opportunity to do. If we calculate and see, many people don't have the opportunity to do. It's amazingly precious for the soul to have an opportunity to render service, devotional service to Krishna. That's why what Bhakti Vinoda Swami Prabhupada has done is a great welfare for humanity. Opening up devotional service and having everybody do it and get the benefit. It was never available like this before. You see. Yes. From? From? Yeah.
I was just wondering what Dharma means.
What?
Dharma means, do I have Dharma?
Okay, Brenda Lee, nice to hear from you. In our connotation, Dharma would mean plain dharma as understood in the material world is moral and ethical functions that allow a person to live a life without interference from others and satisfy himself materially so that he can live a progressive life. This is according to material definition. Now, dharma also means that each one, according to his position and situation, has got certain duties. You're a mother, you're a father, you're a citizen of the country, etc., etc. You have certain things expected out of you, which is also your dharma. Similarly, those are external dharmas according to your titles and designations in the world. Then, on a higher level, there is dharma which you have to perform since you are a spirit soul. Your self identity as spiritual soul also has got a certain duty, and that duty is towards God. That's called Sanatana Dharma. In fact, all dharmas culminate in the performance of Sanatana Dharma, the duty of the soul towards God. That is why, even if you did not do some of the sub-dharmas, if you would do the topmost dharma of serving the Lord, you will still be successful. In fact, you'll be very successful. But if you perform these other lower level upadharmas or sub-dharmas, but not do the main duty of the soul towards God, then you will be condemned. This is the secret about dharma. It's very difficult to understand what is dharma exactly, unless you're told by a pure devotee of the Lord. That is mentioned, what is it? Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yenagata sapanta. One must follow a mahajana, a great pure devotee, in order to understand what is dharma, because that is hidden in his heart. So from the Bhagavatam also we can learn dharma projita kaitavo atra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. We should reject all these cheating dharmas. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the end also Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. Give up all the other dharmas, just surrender to me, this is your main dharma. Right? So different people try to tell us what is our duty in this world. Our parents tell us one thing according to their understanding. The community around us tell us one thing. If you want to be recognized in the community, you should be like this. In your company, they will tell you they have an ethos prevailing in the company. They have a mission statement, and we want our people all to be like this. This is the dharma of the company. So everywhere people pronounce these things and say it. It's like Prabhupada also told us, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, a member of the society should be like this. Of course, it is very much in keeping with Sanatana Dharma, so it's easy for us to do that. So these dharma essentially simply means some form of duty, some form of obligation. Like a spirit soul, when he comes to this world, he has obligations towards the saints and sages who have given him scriptures. He has obligation towards his father, mother and forefathers and onwards up. And he has obligation towards other people in this world. Like that. So these are all dharmas to be done by a grahastha also. So in this way, everybody has duties in this world. There is no free lunch for anybody, as the saying goes. So we have to perform these duties. But we should be focused on the Sanatana Dharma. Then the other dharmas become easier to do. So I hope I've understood you properly and given you some type of a understanding of what dharma is. Hare Krishna.
So Maharaj, from keeping Guru and Krishna, one might use service in mode of passion, but then he might get entangled in passion. How can he come out of it when again and again service requires to do things in mode of passion?
So, one must have association. Otherwise, one will get lost alone. In the association of devotees, one must do service. Then, in the association of devotees, one can correct himself. One can be safe in rendering service. That's one important principle. We cannot grapple the modes on our own. Difficult to do. Very difficult. Mama Maya Duratyaya, Krishna has mentioned. So, we may not take this as a license to be passionately engaged in devotional service. There's no license here for doing that. Sometimes our service, when we deal with certain types of people, requires some passion. Once I remember, I did my education and all these things and decided to join full time, and I was in Mayapur. Guru Maharaj asked me to look after the samadhi and construction, everything. You should go and do. There's a big problem at that time. Work was not going on. But I didn't know how to go about it. I was ready to do, but I didn't know whom to contact, what to do, who are the people. I didn't sit in any meeting, nothing. So I was wanting to do, but I was very sober and not showing great enthusiasm because I didn't know how to go about it. Didn't have information. So I was every time going behind the Guru Maharaj and waiting, what shall I do, what to do, how to do, how to do. So once he turned around and said, go do something, get passionate and do something. He told me this. I said, passionate? We're not supposed to do that. That's what I thought first in the head. But soundly he turned around to me, go and do something. Then I understood, some action you do, then from there everything will start. Don't try to be, I am Sattva Guna, the Bhagavad Gita is saying, I shall be nice to everybody, in this way I shall not do any service, I shall be in Sattva Guna, in this way I shall not do any devotional service. This is crazy. So, go and do something. After that I started doing, actually on my own I started, nobody's telling me, I'll go and do this. And then people started, oh, please come here, I'll tell you what to do. It started working. You start doing, people, come to you and they utilize you. So, we may need to sometimes initiate things by getting a little passionate. Ratha Yatra is coming and nobody has done this. Sometimes I feel go down to the field and then, why do you not do this? Why do you not do this? Create a little this thing and people start working. It's material world. So sometimes you may need to initiate things. You may need to use some passion. But that should not become the norm. That every time it should be like that. If it every time is like that, then people may not do. That will be difficult. So we have to adjust things accordingly. It's not necessary all the time to be in passion. Sometimes if people are like that under you and always require passion, then we have to change our service or change the people or change yourself. Some change has to be done somewhere. Yeah. Right? Hare Krishna. Om Tat Sat. Srila Prabhupada ki. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Nittai Gaura Premanande.